Welcome to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast by yours truly, Colleen Wood. Here is where we celebrate success in real estate and share the wisdom and struggle so that others can be successful too. If you're a new listener, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders, and I'm known for helping realtors earn a lot more money in commissions without selling their soul to the industry and while maintaining balance with what's most important in life. I am over the moon today to be talking to Amy Rogers, realtor with Brokers 12 out of Minot, North Dakota, mama of 4, military wife, real estate investor, and all around amazing woman. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
Holy cow. I hope I live up to that hype. That's a good intro.
Well, I know that you do. So I'm so excited to be talking to you. I know that our listeners are thrilled to be hearing from you. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about your real estate career and your life. So let's just dive right in.
Thank you. I'm excited.
All right, my friend. So you and your family are a military family. In fact, your husband is still active duty.
Yes.
Talk to me about your guys' history with that. What's the involvement? What does that look like?
So it looks different every day. Every day is going to be a completely different scenario. So my husband's been active duty for about 14 years now. In the first 7 years of our marriage, we had lived in 6 different states. So it was definitely kind of a whirlwind there for a while. We had 4 kids, a handful of dogs, and a lot of moving for the first several years. And then we were given the opportunity, or he was given the opportunity to commission. And he took a job that not everyone would love to what's categorized as the worst base in the Air Force. And our secret is that it's not bad. It's actually the best place to live. And that brought us to Minot, North Dakota, where we have thankfully and blessedly and gracefully called home for the last 6.5 years.
That is wonderful. That is incredibly difficult to try to establish a career in anything when you have to move so often. Were you working at that time that you were moving around and about, or were you stay-at-home mama? What did that look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I met my husband in Nashville, Tennessee. I was actually doing property management. So it was kind of a dabble, a sampling of real estate. And then once we got hitched, we moved so frequent. What do? I mean, I can sell makeup out of the trunk of my car, but we also had 4 kids. So he let me stay home, and I got to stay home for over 10 years. And I'm so appreciative that I got to do that. In fact,
Yes.
I still consider myself a stay-at-home mom. I just happen to be a really good real estate agent on the side.
That's fantastic. And that is something that I hear resonate a lot with female realtors that have been able to spend some time at home with their kids. And what a blessing. It's such a blessing and all of us women and men too. I mean, know how important it is to spend time with your kiddos when they're little. And that's what's something that's so amazing about real estate is that you can take the hiatus, take the time you need, and then kind of get reintroduced into a new career and take off with it without a lot of experience.
The experience that you need to be successful in real estate has less to do with real estate than you would think. To be successful in just about anything, you have to have something that you can train anyone in real estate. To be successful at it, you have to have, it's hard to describe. You have to have a level of healthy obsession and never turn your phone off and never say no. So that's what it takes to be good. And that's not something that you can show on a resume. So when I started my real estate classes and got my license, I interviewed here at the best brokerage. And what did I have to offer them? I had nothing. I was like, hey, I'm a mommy and I have a lot of kids. Like, that's not helpful. They had no reason to bring me on. But that's the neat thing about being a real estate agent is it is expensive. And that's the barrier to entry. Experience is not the barrier to entry. Wow. So for me to be able to get into being the best and to be around the elite, they took a risk and they brought me on. And I hope that I've lived up to their expectations. But it's not something that's quantitative to be successful. It's just it's a weird gut instinct wildness that allows for you to succeed in this career.
Wow, that was incredibly well said. So
it didn't feel like it was well said.
No, it was. I mean, that was so amazing because it's not a quantitative thing or a box that you can check. It is work ethic, like you said, obsession. It's, incredible customer service and understanding what people need. empathy. All of
Right.
those things are not things on your resume.
Right.
So, with your experience with the armed forces, did that connect you to other military families? And how did you make that connection?
Yeah, so we move a lot. We did move a lot. We don't move anymore. Every time we would move, it was just, it's bizarre. You just go out and you're like, will you be my friend? It feels like the buddy bitch bench. Woo. It's say I'm a fly. I don't even swear.
That's great. That's a great one.
It feels like the buddy bench on my kid's playground when you move so often because you're just instantly like, who's going to be my friend? Who's going to be nice to me? Who's going to play with me?
Yeah.
And I'm not particularly outgoing, but you have to learn to be or you're going to be lonely. So every time we would move, it was like, how do I create a sense of community? Of course, it was the kids are an easy key, but also getting involved in my community, getting involved with my church. So that when we landed here in Minot, North Dakota, it was where are the people? And it's not necessarily looking for other military families, but it's just that I have to create a sense of community. And that's one of the things that I do here within Minot is I want people to not just be happy, but I want them to feel loved, which is a silly thing to think. But when you live on a military installation, it does feel cold. It does feel isolating. And the individuals around you are constantly cycling through. But when you become integrated in the local community and you buy a piece of real estate, you pay your property taxes, you vote in local elections, you attend church, you recognize people at the grocery store, it's something that makes you feel like you're not anonymous. So when I approach individuals who might live on base or live in a giant apartment complex where they feel anonymous, I try to not just coax them out of like, hey, there's a community here of wonderful people. It's an opportunity for me to show people that I'm not just viewing them as a number or a commission, but an opportunity to say, this is a community and you need to get involved, not just for the community's benefit, but it will benefit somebody tremendously, especially if they are active duty or dependent.
Wow. Wow. So, how did you get led up to real estate? Where did that connection happen?
Well, it was weird. It's just weird. I did property management when I was in Nashville. So it wasn't completely out of the ordinary to get a little bit more comfortable with the idea of having a tenant. But during COVID, it seemed like people went into COVID one person, they came out a completely different person. I went into COVID, I had 4 kids in a very, very tiny house that we had owned at the time. We still own. And homeschooling them, you start to go insane. So I started flipping furniture out of my garage. And you learn a weird set of skills flipping furniture. And then I renovated our house. And then I started to renovate it again. And my husband's like, wait. I buy you another house. You crazy person. Stop, please. So he bought me another house and we rented out our first house. And then in a span of a few months, we bought 2 more houses. And then over the next year and a half, 2 years, we grew from owning 1 single family home to owning 21 investment doors. And we brand them with our yellow door homes.
Oh
and
my
they're
gosh.
precious. And we actually sold our first property yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Never sold anything before. So it's a lot of fun. So I get to renovate these adorable little houses and apartments with my kids, and it's a sweet little adventure.
Oh my goodness. I'm so inspired by this. So I have to ask, it's like maybe it's an obvious question. Are all the doors yellow?
Most of them. Some of them I'm like, I don't want to be associated with me.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Some of them I'm like, that one needs a little more love before we brand it just yet.
Yeah.
But a lot of them we do paint yellow, and it's sweet. And it's a lot of fun. And it's been very interesting learning because you start as an investor. It's scary, it's intimidating, it's terrifying because am I going to be able to pay the mortgage on this investment property? And how it just grows and snowballs into something where, we would make offers on houses my husband hasn't seen, which was normal. And I'm the president of our LLC. Just in the span of, a couple of years, I went from being a stay-at-home mom, asking my husband what kind of light bulbs he wants, to him saying, I don't know, go do it. I don't know. And, meeting with contractors and installing flooring, and our oldest daughter painted the exterior of a house. It's incredible how quickly somebody can change from one type of person to a completely different lifestyle, and what that transition has afforded us to do.
That is so inspiring. That is so inspiring. So give us just a little bit of a time frame, start to finish, light bulbs to in real estate investment portfolio. How long was that?
So we closed on what's our very first house was back in like 2017, but we lived in it. We didn't know what we were doing at that point. And then our second property is when it really started, and that was September 30th of 2020 that we closed on that. And we closed on our most recent purchase was just a few months ago. So it was probably last year. So it was 2 years. 24 months going from one single family owner occupied to 21 properties, 21 investment doors. And it's a mix between single families and multifamilies, things like that. So it's the finances of it is what's so fascinating, because you're a lender, it's incredible. It's just magic. It's just magical. Because as self-employed, you guys couldn't count my income for 2 years. So I just now hit the 2-year mark as a real estate agent 2 months ago. So all of this is based on my husband's active duty pay. We used VA loans. We followed the rules. You don't break the rules of VA loans.
No, ma'am.
No, absolutely not. It's a benefit, not right. So it's very incredible that based on my husband's active duty pay, what working with such gracious, understanding, patient, knowledgeable lenders, how far it can take you on the commercial and on the mortgage side. So our very first purchase was a VA loan. Our very second purchase was a VA loan. We owner occupied those. And to be able to buy houses with conventional loans, drain our retirement, crazy talk, I know, to getting into commercial loans and having a home equity line of credit to be able to pay cash for properties. It's incredible to see that fun math be able to change who a person is.
Yeah.
It's not just what real estate does, it's also what lending does. And when you have a good lender to walk you through the process and a good real estate agent who knows how to use the lenders, you're unstoppable. To see our net worth and see it every Saturday morning, and to know that I didn't do that. It's my blood, sweat, and tears, but it's the magic of real estate and lending that really can catapult somebody from being a very content and happy stay-at-home mom to standing on top of a pile of yellow doors.
That was like the best plug for lending in real estate I think we could have done for it. So keep it up.
I love lenders. I don't know how you do it.
I think one of the most important things is to be able to think outside the box. And I don't know if you've started to use the DSCR product, the debt service product. That's it's not new. It's just back for the party.
Excellent.
Where a DSCR loan is a debt service loan. And as long as the rent, according to the comparable rent schedule on the appraisal, will cover PITI on the payment, it's essentially a no-doc loan. It's insane.
Fantastic.
It's insane. And you can do it with the same investor times 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll do 6 of them. So if you guys are listening out there, if you're wanting to invest into real estate like Amy has, there's lots of tools out there when it comes to lending, and it can make a lot of sense. Because like what Amy's talking about her income not counting for 2 years, my income didn't count for 2 years because I'm commission only as well. So that was really frustrating as being, becoming the primary breadwinner after a while, right? Like we start outperforming our husbands in real estate and not being able to use your income is so frustrating. But it's the rules. It's the rules, and we understand why they're there. But, there are some products out there that, DSCR, even if you're just started with commission or just started as a real estate agent, you can use the DSCR product.
Yeah.
Typically 25% down with that. So what do you look for in an investment property or a renovation project?
The biggest part is, do I want to live here? At any stage of my life, would I be willing to inhabit this home? Whether it was when I was single or a college student, or would I feel comfortable raising my kids in this environment? Is the parking good? Does the house feel good? Is snow removal going to ruin my life? those are the things that, like, right out the gate, is this okay? And then we have she's 11 now, our 11-year-old daughter. Man, she's got an eye. I'm like, do you want to buy this house? Do you like it? Will you live here? Because she's pretty intuitive in that. So I do rely on her a lot.
Wow.
Also, I do a lot of the renovations myself with the kids. And that goes into if it's going to be a good investment property or not. Can I do the work myself? How much am I going to have to hire out? How much is that going to cost? Want air conditioning, electrical, plumbing. Those are all things that I hire out. Easy to do. Roofs, so easy. Flooring, painting, things like that. I can handle it. I do not want to do windows. So that's my biggest thing. I'm like, I don't want to pay for a window.
And I don't do windows.
I don't do exactly. I don't do windows. That's what I say. Yes. And of course, cost effectiveness. Is it
Yes.
going to be a good rental? Will a customer be happy to rent my product? And does it represent our brand well?
Wow. I love that you're not just thinking about like a one particular house. Like you're thinking about the whole brand you're putting everything is all together. Is this a good representation of me? Would I live there? Is this good for my company? Is this going to be a good addition to our local reputation, which is so important with property management? It is. If you get a bad reputation with property management, it can be, people are real quick to put 1-star reviews on your Google and say nasty things about property management. So
yeah,
it's really important.
It's a deep hole to dig out of it for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So you've also had tremendous success with real estate, buying and selling real estate, helping others buy and sell real estate in the very short amount of time that you've been licensed. What methods do you use to stay focused?
Fear, failure, anxiety, stress.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, those aren't motivators? To stay focused, I'm very task oriented. My husband's very big picture. So the end goal is to give away as much money as possible, to build our real estate. I'm a landlord first. I'm a mother first. I'm a landlord second. To try to, build our rental portfolio and to give as much money away. Those are the goals. And when it comes to being a real estate agent, it's really nice going into a buying or listing consultation, knowing that I don't need to close this to pay my bills. And it changes who you are. So where I am at Brokers 12, something that's said a lot is as soon as you need to close a deal to pay your mortgage, makes you a bad agent.
Yes, ma'am, it does. They can smell your need.
Yes.
And it's a bad smell.
It's a nasty smell. And it changes the way you approach people. Yes. And it makes you a gross person, because I've talked people out of more houses than I've talked them into them.
Yeah.
I sell them on the idea of real estate. I can sell you on that, but I'm not going to sell you just a house to check a box. Right. Because it's disgusting. It's just, this is a huge commitment for a lot of people. I mean, it's not, as an investor, you get used to it. I get used to writing offers. I get used to it, But for somebody who's buying their first house or their fifth house, it's a huge task for them. And I have to be very keenly aware of what they need. And if my goal is all right, if I close this, the church gets it. Like if I close this goes to the missionaries down in the Dominican Republic. Like when that's the motivation, it doesn't make me as needy. It's like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. When I'm focused on providing and giving and providing a service, it makes me understand the motivations why somebody needs to buy and needs to sell.
Well, and I always think of it as a fiduciary responsibility. And, I know that ours is not as intense as that. I mean, yours and mine, but we have a responsibility to do the right thing. And I always think about, as coming from a mother's perspective, the most important thing to a mother is that her children have a warm, safe place to come home to. Yep. And not just while they're living there, but that they always do. And so remembering that that's what our clients are trying to provide for their families too. And so if we're seeing real estate, and in fact, I just talked to a gentleman out of a property in Butte, because it was going to take so much work in order to get it to be even like you'd want to invite company over. And he ended up, I just got a buy sell. He's going under contract on it's a brand new construction manufactured home. Good for him. It's perfect for him and his family getting started. But compared to the old manufactured home that was really rough, I mean, for almost the same price. I mean, I didn't want to talk him out of it, but at some point it's like we have a responsibility to say, I know you didn't ask my opinion, but I feel like it's my responsibility to tell you what I think and what I would do in this situation if it were me.
Oh, yeah.
And
I had a buyer's consultation over the weekend and she was dead set on her house. And
mm,
she's like, well, I can get roommates and that'll help. And I said, okay, you have two options. You can buy this house or you can be financially responsible.
yeah,
Which one would you like to do today? I'll show
yeah,
you the house. I'll gladly write the offer. I'll sell it to you. It's fine. However, it's going to ruin your life.
mm,
If you
yeah,
want to ruin your life, I can't stop you. And there are far worse ways to ruin your life than buying a piece of real estate. So you got
yeah.
to have that perspective for sure.
But I feel like such a responsibility to mama bear some of these people
Oh,
and
yeah.
just to say, or even on the selling side, when people are, I mean, we're seeing people hanging on to a very inflated price in some markets. And this isn't the same market as we had a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's not the same market. Now we are seeing some prices come back up, but you know what I'm talking about when I'm seeing the prices came down a little bit. And
Oh, yeah.
there was a lot of sellers that were getting to hold their inventory because of
Mhm.
an unwillingness to adjust their price. And
Mhm.
it's like at some point, I had felt like, and I know that some realtors do give advice and sellers decide not to listen to them. I mean, that's one perspective. But then there's other realtors that are getting the listing because they're going along with an inflated price with the seller. And that's not doing anybody any benefit having a property on the market for 6 months because your price is wrong.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. If you price it wrong at the beginning, you'll end up selling it for less.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
price it right, sell it. And that's one of the things that I discuss at the first buyer's. I love appointments, by
mhm.
the way. At the very first buyer's consultation is discussing exit strategy
Yes.
because it's kind of like, okay, you're buying a house, you're a landlord. You're either your landlord for yourself or you're going to be a landlord when you exit it because you can't sell it.
Mhm.
So that's something I really discussed with them of, are you going to be comfortable holding on to a property and renting it out in the event for active duty members in the event that you PCS?
Yeah.
So that's something to really discuss because if you overpay now, will you be able to exit later? Or if you have an inflated sense of self and you don't understand the market or you hire an agent who's not honest with you, you're going to be
Right.
holding it for a lot longer.
Absolutely. That same inflated sense of self is attached to interest rates as well.
Oh, yeah. They
People
think so
have,
much
there's a
of
lot of
themselves.
self-worth that's attached to their interest rate. And it's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, what consumes your thoughts on a daily basis, Amy? What are you thinking about? Can't get out of your mind?
Oh, yeah. So for the first 2 years, lead generation, lead generation. How do I get more leads? How do I get more leads? Where are the leads? Oh, there's no way to live. It's awful. It's
Mhm.
awful.
Mhm.
So I've got several funnels now. It's been super nice. Now I can obviously what got me here isn't going to keep me here, you know? But right now, the only thing I'm focused on, how can I best serve the clients who are trusting me? They're trusting me to find them the perfect home. They're trusting me to sell them their home that's no longer perfect. So it's my focus is how do I take care of these people? How do I
Yeah.
serve my family? How do I serve my community? And what's for dinner? That's really it.
That's amazing. That's exactly it. But I mean, I remember getting started in my career as well and just being like, where's the next one? Where's the next one? It's like just this obsession and the need,
Oh,
like we're
yeah.
talking about the stinky need. And it's
Stinky.
just so unattractive. And if you can just focus your entire business on, I'm just going to do the very best work that I have with the business that I have. And I'm going to trust, I always say, give
Mhm.
it to God. I'm going to trust that I'm going to be provided with what I need because I do the best work that I can. I take care of people, but I also have other responsibilities other than just, being a lender, leading this team,
Mhm.
slinging loans, selling money. I have a responsibility as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a community member. And those are really important too. And when I was really hammering on my business and putting up the biggest numbers, I was probably the least happy.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. I think
Mhm.
over the last few months, just works you down. And the thing about being a real estate agent, it doesn't matter what the dollar amount is, same amount of effort. Same thing as a
Oh, yeah.
lender.
Oh,
Sometimes those
yeah.
lesser dollar amounts are 1,000 times more work too. So you want to make sure that you're serving everyone equally
Mhm.
and that it's not sucking the ever loving joy out of you. And those big numbers, that doesn't equal success.
Right. Right. But there's also a balance, like you mentioned at the beginning, like how we're always up for everything and we always answer our phone no matter what. So there's a precedence that's set with our families too, that is like, you have to understand where the money comes from. And the money comes at, like, I was writing a deal last night after almost 6 o'clock last night, not typically my usual, hours that I do because I'm a lender, I typically work 8 to 5, but it's like, this is when I had time, when he had time, and they were wanting to write an offer. And so it's your whole family is adjusting their mindset to be like, okay, mama's not available right now. Dinner's going to be a little bit late, or it's going to be something that we just, head to town, go pick something up, do something like that tonight. But that's because I'm going to be able to be more present at other times.
Right.
So,
right. And then it's what enabled us to stay put in Minot, North Dakota was, yes, my husband's still active duty. He still goes. He still does it. But we really capped his career. He saw how happy and how well we thrived in this environment, in this community. And he capped his career to support his family. So it was, what's going to sustain us now, which is me picking it up. So I'm like, hey, kids, do you want to move? No? Okay, then I'm not going to work and you're going to get over it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, do you want to go say goodbye to your friends real quick? What about that sleepover that we're having? You're not going to be able to have it with those friends when we PCS to California. So it is that trade-off of, this is what enables us to stay put. We're going to be just fine.
And it's so good for kids to see too, what a working mother looks like. And, we have a stigma about working fathers, they're gone a certain amount of the day, but it's okay to be able to see mom be able to balance, all of these things and be able to provide so that we can stay here or live the life that we want. It's so good for them to see that. And I love that about real estate in general, because not all of our business happens in a workplace. It happens when we're at home. It happens when we're driving. It happens all the time, all the places, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They get to see it.
Yeah. And I've had a handful of clients who genuinely enjoy my kids. And they've adopted them as their own. So where we would go look at properties and I'm like, I don't have childcare and it just hit the market. They do not care. They want to get into the house. So I would bring a kid or two if I did not have childcare available. And the honesty that comes from children is a blast, by the way. That gorgeous, the carpet is atrocious. And like, no, you're not staying around. So, but they get to see me interact at a completely different level than they had previous and have to see that split focus and that, yes, you are the center of my world, but you're not the center of everyone else's world.
Yeah. And I bet that they're incredibly proud of you.
It depends on what the day is.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. They're kids.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
that's one of the biggest things that's made my heart beat over the years is my son. I only have one, but him saying, seeing me speak at public engagements and him just holding my hand or hugging me and saying, I'm just so proud of you, and so, but that involves him seeing me work. That involves people being, my family being inconvenienced, hearing me take applications while we're driving down the road, and they just have to be completely silent. It's not negotiable. Completely silent. So, what is on your resume for the next 2 years? What do you want to see there?
My broker's license, for the love of Pete. It's so hard to get those classes in right now. I haven't made it. Everybody has the same amount of time in the day, but I just haven't prioritized it. So, of course, broker, owner of my brokerage, I anticipate, yes, I'm going to be number one. I'm going to do that. But also, it's not what gets me out of bed in the morning, So in the first 24 months being a licensed real estate agent, I did 115 transactions and 22 million. What got me to that isn't necessarily going to keep me here. So it's just going to be serving the community, building my portfolio. And if I focus on that, and if I focus on taking care of people, getting me to number one is just going to be a byproduct.
Absolutely. You guys, she couldn't have said it any better than that. Focusing on what's important, focusing on doing what's right in your business, it will get you where you want to go. And it's not overnight. It's not overnight. Yeah. It's not buying leads from a certain company that's going to make you successful. It's taking care of the ones that you have and continuing to cultivate those relationships. This is amazing. Amy, I'm so grateful you joined us.
Complimentary.
This was so great. This was so great. And this is going to help
you.
so many people. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. You are an incredible woman, incredible realtor. This has just been so much fun.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Just as a reminder, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders. What we are known for are three things. Number one, we close on time. Number two, we keep our realtors in the sales seat at all times by keeping them updated on their current transactions and by encouraging them to go out and get the next one. Number three, when you entrust us with a lead, we follow up on that lead until they buy, fly, or die. Leads are never lost to our lack of follow-up. Our number one priority is for you to earn more money in commissions so that you can improve the lives of your family, community, and in turn, our country. So can I count on you for that next buyer lead? I would love to work with you too. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please just reach out to my office. All right, I'll talk to you when you call in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Bye-bye.